What exactly is happening between Taehyung and HYBE that made Jungkook unable to hold back his tears? Is this a sign that their relationship with the agency is starting to crack? Or is there something deeper, something that has long been hidden from the public eye? A short live session by Taehyung on Weverse, wearing a simple yellow t-shirt, unexpectedly revealed shocking facts that left ARMY frozen, and Jungkook crying silently on the other side of the continent. Is this merely an act of concern? Or is a major decision being considered by the BTS members? That afternoon, without any official announcement, Taehyung suddenly appeared on Weverse Live. Wearing a pale yellow t-shirt, his hair slightly messy as if he had just woken up or maybe just finished recording something. His voice sounded calm, but the look in his eyes hinted at a burden. Many ARMYs initially thought this was just a casual live stream, some light chatting like Taehyung usually did. But the mood drastically changed within minutes after the broadcast started. Taehyung, without much small talk, began talking about his feelings of disappointment. He didn't name anyone, didn't point directly, but the words that came from him were like bullets hitting their mark. He admitted to feeling like he was no longer a priority in many matters and sensed an imbalance in how the agency treated the members. He didn't directly accuse HYBE, but when he mentioned the company and one-sided decisions, ARMY immediately knew where the conversation was headed. He also paused several times as if holding back something, tears or anger he had long buried. The reaction to this broadcast spread rapidly. A 12-second clip of Taehyung saying, "I don't understand why they never ask me how I feel first," went viral on Twitter and TikTok. Thousands of comments poured in, shocked and concerned. But what drew even more attention wasn't just the content of the live, but Jungkook's reaction, who at the time was in Los Angeles. Jungkook, known to be handling personal matters and musical collaborations in LA, was reportedly quick to contact BTS staff after seeing the video clips of Taehyung that had circulated. According to a trusted source close to their work circle, Jungkook broke down in tears and became hysterical in one of the recording studios. He felt like he had failed to understand what his friend had been going through all this time, someone who always seemed strong, but was clearly carrying a heavy burden. A studio crew member where Jungkook was working revealed that the atmosphere that night was completely different. Jungkook refused to continue the recording session and chose to sit alone in the corner of the room for over an hour. He said nothing, just stared at his phone screen that kept replaying Taehyung's video. Several times he was seen wiping away tears with his jacket sleeve. Not a single word came out of his mouth, but the look on his face was enough to show the depth of the pain he felt. ARMYs in LA even claimed to have seen Jungkook leaving the building with a puffy face and hurried steps. When one fan dared to ask, Jungkook simply answered softly, "I have to talk to Taehyung right now." What exactly did Taehyung experience that made him explode emotionally during the live broadcast? In another clip, Taehyung mentioned feeling like just an asset and no longer an artist. That sentence immediately sparked huge speculation about the internal pressure he's been dealing with. Many speculated that he felt unsupported by the company in his personal projects, including the planned release of his next solo album and the potential international collaborations that have been delayed, without clear explanation. That a source from within the Korean entertainment industry mentioned that in recent months, there had been tension between some BTS members and management over the direction of their solo careers. Some members felt more prioritized, while others had to wait their turn without any clarity. Taehyung was known to be actively preparing several international projects, including the possibility of becoming a brand ambassador for a renowned European fashion house. However, these projects were reportedly stalled because the agency hadn't given the green light. I asked this what Taehyung meant when he said, "I feel like I'm waiting for something that never comes." That sentence may sound ordinary on the surface, but for fans who have followed their careers from the beginning, it was a signal that something was seriously wrong. What confused ARMYs even more was the fact that shortly after that Weverse Live ended, HYBE issued a short statement that didn't explain anything. They only said, "The members are doing well, and we ask fans not to speculate." That statement didn't ease the tension. Instead, it made things worse. The lack of clarity prompted fans to dig even deeper for hidden clues from the members' words and actions. Meanwhile, the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook became a spotlight. The two had long been known to be very close, But recently, that closeness seemed to fade from public view. Even in some broadcasts or promotional events, many felt they seemed distant from one another. Now, with Jungkook's deeply emotional reaction to Taehyung's Live, a major question arises. Are they struggling to maintain a bond that's being strained by outside pressure? Some armies believe that Jungkook had long known how Taehyung felt, but didn't expect it to be revealed so openly in a live broadcast. What makes this even more dramatic is the fact that Jungkook is known to be someone who rarely shows emotion in public. But this time, he couldn't hold back his tears. It wasn't crying out of sentiment. It was guilt, pain, and anger. Another important clue armies found came from Taehyung's private social media account. A few hours after that Weverse broadcast, he posted a picture of a bird trapped in a cage. No caption, no explanation, just a single period emoji. The image was immediately seen as a symbol of himself, feeling trapped and unable to be free. Many linked this to his contract status under HYBE, or possibly to his delayed personal projects. Meanwhile, Jungkook had yet to return to South Korea as of this writing. He was reportedly still in LA, but staying away from public schedules and even canceled a meeting with an American label that had been rumored to be a potential distributor for his solo album. Some say he's trying to calm down, but others believe Jungkook wants to show solidarity with Taehyung by putting all his professional matters on hold until everything is clear. The question now is, could this be the beginning of a major shift in BTS's structure as a group and as individuals? Are the members starting to realize they need to take control of their own career paths without too much interference from the agency? Or is this a critical moment that could lead to internal division? So far, Taehyung hasn't given any further clarification. But ARMY believes that if he dared to speak out publicly, it means he could no longer carry the burden alone. Jungkook, with his honest and emotional response, shows that their relationship goes far deeper than just being co-workers. This story isn't over. In fact, it might have just begun. That simple live session in a yellow t-shirt could very well be a turning point, not just for Taehyung and Jungkook, but for BTS's future. Because in a world full of control and illusion, honesty is the most shocking, and also the bravest thing there is. Even though the article above presents a series of emotional narratives, hints, and shocking twists that appear to be based on reality, it is important to clarify that the news is not entirely true and tends to be speculative and overly dramatized without valid factual basis. Much of the information circulating on social media and forming the foundation of this narrative turns out to be the result of misinterpretation, edited context, and even added assumptions by fans who are too immersed in emotion. Verified facts show that there is no open conflict between Taehyung and HYBE, and no official evidence or acknowledgement from Jungkook that he cried in Los Angeles because of Taehyung's Weverse Live. It should be understood that the Weverse Live broadcast conducted by Taehyung, where he wore a pale yellow t-shirt and spoke about his feelings and personal experiences, was actually part of his effort to connect more closely with fans. There were no explicit words targeting or blaming HYBE directly, nor were there any indications of unfair treatment towards him. On the contrary, many armies felt that Taehyung was simply sharing a reflective moment about how he personally views his career journey, including the challenges, pressures, and hopes for the future as an artist. Additionally, there is no official documentation, either from South Korean media or international outlets, confirming that Jungkook cried or became emotional in Los Angeles after watching the live. Reports of Jungkook crying in the studio, refusing recording sessions, or sitting alone replaying Taehyung's video are mostly spread within fan communities, largely without visual evidence, voice recordings, or official statements from the parties involved. Stories like these usually come from anonymous accounts whose credibility is hard to verify and cannot be used as legitimate journalistic sources. Many fans speculate that such narratives are deliberately exaggerated to create dramatic effects that emotionally engage armies and boost content traffic on social media. Not a few fanbase accounts or unofficial news channels exploit BTS's fame to create sensational stories that, in truth, lack solid foundation. This is risky because it can lead to major misunderstandings, not only among fans but also between the artists and the public. It must be emphasized that the relationship between BTS members, including Jungkook and Taehyung, has long been known to be very close. The two have known each other, and worked together for more than a decade. In various interviews and official documentaries like Break the Silence or Burn the Stage, it is clearly shown that they often support each other during the toughest times. Therefore, speculation that they are distant or have emotional tension due to internal company issues should not be believed without concrete evidence. HYBE itself, as the agency managing BTS, has not issued any statements regarding alleged internal tension or unfair treatment of Taehyung. In fact, on various occasions, both through financial reports and management interviews, HYBE has repeatedly emphasized that they fully support the individual activities of BTS members during the group's hiatus, including solo projects, international collaborations, and other personal endeavors. This means the claim that Taehyung's projects are deliberately delayed or hindered unilaterally is an unfounded assumption, in reality. Taehyung has been actively involved in major projects recently. He released his solo album Layover, did photo shoots with various world-renowned luxury brands, and even attended Paris Fashion Week as an exclusive guest. All of this indicates that Taehyung's solo career is still being strongly supported by his agency. Meanwhile, Jungkook is also busy with his solo schedule, including collaborations with international musicians and promoting the album Golden. They have even shown support for each other on social media. Jungkook has mentioned Taehyung's songs during his live streams, and Taehyung has enthusiastically commented on Jungkook's achievements. What should be learned from the spread of such news is the importance of thinking critically before believing and spreading dramatic narratives that have not been verified. While as fans we have a strong emotional bond with our favorite artists, we also have a responsibility in processing information, not to be easily swayed, not to draw conclusions without data, and not to spread fear or confusion among fellow fans.